Welcome back for another video. I am the Maize Madman. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you're aware every time I upload a video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what recruits are saying after a huge recruiting weekend, who Michigan is closer to landing after the visits. Also, we'll get into a Notre Dame commit that was recently let out of his letter of intent from the 2023 class that Michigan could land. All that plus, I'm upset. In the trunk, gotta put my seat up. In the trunk, I got my bass, and I ain't speaking about no speakers. Let's get into it. Michigan had a huge recruiting weekend this past weekend, invited kids from the 2024, 25, and 26 classes. There were multiple quarterbacks on hand, which is great news. No more of the eggs in one basket following the 2024 class, of course. Included in that 2025 class was five-star top 3 recruit in the nation, #1 overall quarterback, Bryce Underwood. I spoke about Bryce in the last 2 videos. This one was huge because apparently Kirk Campbell is a rock star and knocked this one out of the park. TMI caught up with Bryce's father after the fact, and he had this to say about Campbell. We've been to Michigan quite a few times, and the visits were, for lack of a better words, boring because they had no energy behind it. There was no plan behind it. There was no chemistry with Coach Matt Weiss and Bryce at all. We would basically just sit in the meeting and just look at each other. We'd ask questions, and the questions would get answered in a way nobody could understand what the hell he was talking about, to be honest. And just the introduction with Kirk Campbell, I mean, we got right to it. We got right in the room. He pulled out what Bryce's plan could be if he came to Michigan. They just talked about football for 45 minutes straight, nonstop. Not boring conversation, just challenging each other, going back and forth. And this is a 15-year-old kid we're talking about. So to be able to see that and hear it was exciting. And like I said, they were just challenging each other to just see what each other knew. That was a great day, man. It was a great thing to see. That is very encouraging, by the way. This is a recruitment that I've pointed out Michigan needs to win. I'm not going to rehash that, but it is very encouraging to hear that the new quarterback coach, Kirk Campbell, is obviously a much better recruiter than the former quarterback coach / co-offensive coordinator, Matt Weiss. Moving along. In addition to Bryce Young, Michigan also welcomed another 2025 quarterback, Ryan Montgomery, to campus. He and his family were there. They also had high praise for Kirk Campbell, which is a beautiful thing. I was one that was skeptical about the Campbell hiring just because I heard about the other big names that were involved, and I thought that could help Michigan more potentially. However, Kirk Campbell appears to be the right hire. But back to Montgomery. He is the number 47 overall recruit in the 2025 class, according to On3, the 4th ranked quarterback and the #1 recruit in the state of Ohio. He had this to say about Montgomery. He says, "I think the visit was great. I always enjoy getting back up to Ann Arbor. I loved watching practice and the players really get after it. I got to sit down with Coach Campbell and talk ball for a while, and we got dinner after, so I really loved it. I think Coach Campbell and I clicked instantly. I love how he coached during practice and how passionate he is about the game. He coaches at a super high level, and I respect his philosophies at the quarterback position." So again, let me be the first to apologize to Kirk Campbell for ever questioning whether or not he was going to be the guy for the job. Clearly, I was mistaken. Clearly, a good swath of the fan base was mistaken, because it wasn't just me in those comments. You guys that were in those comment sections with me, you know exactly who you are. So shout out again to Kirk Campbell. It looks like the 2 top targets for Michigan in the 2025 class in terms of at the quarterback position are both pleased with him. And Ryan Montgomery also holds Michigan in high esteem. Speaking of high esteem, Michigan, according to the On3 recruiting prediction machine, has overtaken Michigan State. That's right, little brother. Sorry, you're about to lose another one. For the #1 spot in Bryce Underwood's recruitment. So that is massive. Going into the weekend, Michigan State was ahead. Coming out of the weekend, Kirk Campbell and Michigan are ahead now. So that is excellent news. Before we get into the next segment, I want to take this time to remind everyone to click the like and subscribe button to get more content like this. Also, hit the notification bell so you are the first to know when I upload a new video. Back to it. Breaking news while recording this, and this young man wasn't even on campus this past weekend. However, Michigan just received a crystal ball in their favor for four-star running back out of Longview, Texas, Longview High School, Tatum. He is the number 3 overall running back in the class and number 36 ranked recruit nationally. He is also the number 6 ranked player out of the state of Texas. I cannot express how massive this is. I told you guys earlier this year that Mike Hart was really hitting the trail hard. Tatum, along with Ohio running back Jordan Marshall, were both at the top of his list. I don't know if he'll be able to land both of them. However, this would be a huge development. That wasn't even in my video today, but getting back to it. Speaking of rock star recruiters on the Michigan staff, there is probably none bigger than Chris Partridge. There are some guys. Obviously, Ron Bellamy is huge for them. Obviously, Steve Klinkscale is huge for them. Kirk Campbell now huge. And probably the biggest, though, is still head coach Jim Harbaugh, but Kirk Partridge right in there with the rest of those guys. He had himself a fantastic weekend as 4-star linebacker and number 1 recruit in the state of Maryland. Aaron Childs has now been given 3 crystal balls to Michigan. Aaron Childs had this to say after his most recent visit to Michigan this past weekend. I'm glad that my whole family got a chance to come out. My whole family got a feel for Coach Partridge, which was great. Meeting some new people, we'll see some new faces too. It was a fun time. My family loved it. My mom asked the questions as if they weren't coaching there, if Michigan would still be a good fit for me, and they spoke highly of the school. It's a family culture. The relationships became stronger. It was just a great time. I got a chance to meet his whole family. Speaking of Partridge, his wife and kids. Throughout this whole trip, we became closer and closer. We sat down and talked about what he cares about and looks for in a linebacker. He's really enthusiastic. He gets really fired up in the meetings. He takes school really serious, which is a big piece. So 3 crystal balls now for Aaron Childs, the number 1 recruit in the state of Maryland. Huge DMV recruit. In addition to Childs, Michigan also picked up a crystal ball for a 4-star athlete in the 2025 class, LaMason Waller. Waller spoke highly of Michigan as well. Also was on site this weekend. He had this to say: Michigan's a very nice place. The tradition out there is just different, man. They are the most winningest program in college football history for a reason. I love Coach Bellamy and his whole entire philosophy of the game. Everything is about details with him. I also got a chance to chat with Coach Harbaugh for an hour. It was very surreal feeling. I love Michigan and everything about it. I would say they're probably the ones to beat right now. So high endorsement for Michigan. LaMason Waller is being recruited as an athlete out of the state of California. Again, 4-star athlete, 6'2", 170 pounds, rated as the number 99 recruit overall in 2025, the 9th ranked athlete and the 15th ranked recruit in the state of California. Ringing endorsements for Michigan, huge for their assistant coaches and recruiters. This, I promise you, will be a very highly rated recruiting class. Obviously, this upcoming weekend is just as big a recruiting weekend as 5-star quarterback Jaden Davis from Providence Day School, North Carolina, makes his another unofficial visit this upcoming weekend. That being said, we'll also update you on the goings on in Michigan spring practice and update you on information regarding that on the next video. Be sure to check it out. Before I get out of here, just want to remind you, hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell. On my way out, just some things I cannot forget about. I forgot this last video, but the Triple M shout outs, and here we go. A special shout out to my guy, Crack the Nut. He is obviously a huge Michigan fan and knows that the other state is the enemy. Also, want to give a shout out to William Cawthorn and Maverick. Those are the Maize Madman shout outs this week. Thank you guys for your support. Continue to support. And until next time, follow me on Twitter at Maize Madman and everywhere at Maize Madman. And as always, I'm upset.
Ladies and gentlemen, this may be your best season ever.